our mission was to pioneer new markets, to prove that there was demand for a truly environmentally responsible paper, and to come into this totally commodified industry and sell a value-added green product. One of our challenges is, because it's so commodified, it's hard to be price competitive. And I'm one that, a lot of people say green doesn't have to cost more, and it's true, it doesn't have to. But that's a broad generalization. When you're looking at an industry where margins are 10% and economies of scale are a huge factor, sometimes it does. When I started New Leaf, I don't want to say paper was arbitrary, but it wasn't my specific passion. My passion was to start a business and have it be successful, and by being a profitable, successful business, doing things differently, building values into everything we sell and everything we do, that we would lead within an industry and drive change by virtue of our example. So being profitable actually was essential. Without being profitable, actually we'd hurt our mission. God forbid you set yourself out to prove to an industry that sustainability sells and that they could create products that have better environmental standards and then not succeed. You could prove the exact opposite you're hoping to prove. So we actually felt a huge amount of responsibility, and not just to our values, but to be a successful, profitable business as we're growing New Leaf Paper, because that's essential to the sustainable mission as well, not just to the economics. I've thought a lot about policy over the years, and I think the best policies are ones that give the rest of society a clear picture of a direction. There's so much political speak that is just baloney. When people talk about no taxes, there's enormous amount of taxes happening right now. There's enormous amounts of incentives happening right now. And this idea of no new taxes, well, what does that say? It sets in stone all the taxes we've set up are perfectly designed for, forever. I mean, it's an insane concept. I wouldn't advocate for government, leading an R&D initiative, but I would advocate for, the U.S. government to say, we're gonna, we want to shift our economy away from fossil fuels. It's not only more sustainable, but frankly, it's good for national security. It's good for jobs. There's so many reasons it's a great direction to go. And we're going to help push it along by increasing an energy tax on fossil fuels over a 20-year period. And we're going to do it slowly over time so that industry has a chance to absorb it and adjust to it and hopefully change behavior without having some abrupt new law that says you can't, use X or Y. I mean, using tax incentives with a longer term perspective like that is really, I think, the way government can work best. So we could start, saying, okay, for the next 20 years, we're going to have 10 cents, a gallon on gas every year, and so, companies that are forward thinking will say, okay, well, in 4 or 5 years, they can do an easy analysis in their financials, and it starts making sense to invest in renewables, and everybody's on a level playing field, right? So that'd be great policy. Another one is to use the purchasing power of the government to support innovation. So rather than be the innovators, they can say, GSA, the largest purchaser in the country, General Services Administration, is going to put solar power on all the roofs in America, and we're going to put bids out over the next 3 or 4 years, come on, show up and do business with the U.S. government, right? So the U.S. government can drive innovation by demand, and it can shift behavior by really smart use of taxes and incentives. The first businesses in the United States had limited charters. When the colonies were very apprehensive of businesses because they had suffered under the East India Company, which had come over and undercut local vendors with cheap tea, etc. I mean, that's what the Tea Party was about, right? So when the 13 colonies got together and formed the United States, there was a lot of discussion around corporations, whether we'd even create charters at all. And the first charters were for businesses that had a specific purpose and a specific lifespan. I mean, literally, death and rebirth death was built into the charter. So a company was born with the idea of delivering a certain service to society, was able to make money doing this, and then when it was done, the charter would go away. Taxes are a way of generating revenue for the government and signaling to the economy what we as a people would like to see the business world do to serve our common interests as a society, right? I mean, business ultimately gets a charter to do business. It's granted a charter by society to do business. And that connection between societal goals and business goals has been often lost in the last, couple of centuries. But it's real. And that's an important point to just drive home to business people. We are doing business at the discretion of the people of this country.